Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. And before we begin, look, I got a new sticker. How cool is that? So it's actually been almost a week since we filmed anything. We had a huge push to get, I think, 11 videos out in 2 days right before the playoffs started. And I just honestly just needed a break. I was exhausted from editing and stuff. And then, Easter came, so we had some time off for our family stuff and all that. But we're back, back to the normal grind. This is going to be the first video in about a week. And I'm going to be reviewing my mid-season predictions. So I made these predictions way back about 4 months ago or 3.5 months ago, something like that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how I did. And you don't know yet, but I know, and I know that I didn't do very good. So either way, I thought it would be fun to look back and go through this, and you guys can laugh at me a little bit. So I did a few different kind of predictions. I started off by reviewing some certain teams and then predicting their final point total. And the way I decided on what teams to do is by the hats that I had. So I only did teams that I had hats for, which is a stupid reason, but hey, that's what I did. So I'm just going to go through the teams that I did and how many points I predicted them to have. So we'll start off with Washington. I thought that they would have 111 points. They ended up with 118, so I was definitely wrong there. I thought Pittsburgh would end up with 118 points, and they ended up with 111, so I was totally backwards there between Pittsburgh and Washington. I thought Ottawa would finish with 100. They finished with 98, so it's pretty close. I thought Toronto would finish with 97, and they finished with 95, so again, a little close. I thought St. Louis would end with 96 points, and they ended with 99, so they did a little better than I thought. Minnesota with 114 points, and they ended with 106, so they did far less than I thought they would. Dallas with 85, and they ended with 79, so again, they did worse than I thought. Tampa Bay with 96, and they ended with 94, so close. Florida with 88, and they ended with 81, so again, totally off there. The Islanders with 95, and they ended with 94. I think that was my closest one. Anaheim with 102, and they ended with 105. And then Calgary with 89, and they ended with 94, so they did much better than I thought. And then lastly, Boston, I thought they'd have 86 points, and they ended with 95, so I got that one totally wrong, and I am very happy to admit that I did not peg Boston to make the playoffs, so I'm wrong, and I'm happy to admit that. So that's all the individual teams that I did review. However, I did do the mid-season prediction as to what teams I thought were going to make the playoffs. And I did a whole bracket and everything of who I thought was going to play who based on who I thought was going to make the playoffs. So there's definitely some wrong things in there, but let's go through it and have some fun. And I'm going to put this behind me too so you guys can see. And I actually made these predictions, I think, 2 or 3 weeks before the predictions that I just read to you earlier. So some things aren't going to match up here. I changed them a little bit. Specifically, the first one I'm going to say, in the East, Washington, I had them coming first. And due to my point total, totally wrong there. I guess I changed my mind, but I had Washington coming first. I had Pittsburgh coming second in the Metropolitan Division. I had the Rangers coming third. And I had Columbus falling all the way down to the last wildcard spot. I really felt that Columbus would fall pretty far. I didn't think that they would be able to keep up their exciting performance they had at the beginning of the year. I thought maybe it was just a bit of a fluke, but you know what? It wasn't, and I was totally wrong there. So that's a bit strange to see. But moving forward, we have I thought I had Montreal in first, which I guess is right. I thought that Ottawa would come second, which they did. I thought that Toronto would come third, which they didn't, although they almost did. And then the last team in the Atlantic, I had Tampa Bay. I thought they would actually climb up into the first wildcard spot. So I thought that they would have been seated above Columbus. And although they almost made it to that last wildcard spot, they didn't quite make it. So I'm happy with the teams that I chose that made the playoffs. I got 7 out of 8 right. But as far as positioning, I'm not very happy about that. I definitely got a lot wrong there. So moving over to the West, we'll do the same thing. So I thought that Minnesota would come first. I thought that Chicago would come second in the Central. I thought St. Louis would come third in the Central. And I thought that Los Angeles would sneak in that last wildcard spot. If we move over to the other side, I thought San Jose would come in first in the Pacific. I thought Anaheim would come second. I thought Calgary would come third. And I thought the Edmonton Oilers would hold the first wildcard spot, so they would be seated above Los Angeles. And again, I got 7 out of 8 teams right, but positionally, completely wrong. So I thought Minnesota would play Los Angeles. I thought Chicago would play St. Louis. I thought San Jose would play Edmonton, which I guess they are, but just in a different order. And I thought Anaheim would play Calgary, which they are too, and just in a different order as well. So again, totally wrong in the staging of the teams, but I feel good about the teams that I chose to make it. I really didn't expect Nashville to make a push and to really get in there. I thought that they had a slow start. I didn't think they were going to be able to recover, but they did. And I didn't really predict Los Angeles kind of falling out. I really thought that they would be close and make it, and again with Boston, I honestly thought that they were going to miss the playoffs, and I was totally wrong. They somehow not only made the playoffs, but they played really well down that last bit of the stretch. I was completely wrong about Columbus. That really surprises me that they kept that steam going the whole way. They were so competitive all year long. Tampa Bay, that was close. They almost made it, but I really thought that they were going to be a little higher than that. So it's hard to make predictions so far in advance. You're going to be wrong. Even the predictions that we made in the last video about who's going to win each series. Of course, we're going to have some of them wrong, but it's just fun, right? It's just fun to make predictions, and that's what this was all about. I never made these predictions thinking I was going to be right. It's just all about having fun and just seeing how right you're going to be in a couple months or a couple days or weeks or whatever. So I hope you guys made some predictions too, and I hope you did better than me. So I hope you made some playoff predictions as well. And this is going to wrap up this video, but we have a ton of content planned. Tomorrow we're filming 2 videos, one on the Eastern Conference round 1, going over all the series in the Eastern Conference, and then the same in the West. So we're going to have 2 videos, one in the East, one in the West, and they'll be releasing probably, today's Monday, we're going to film those tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and they'll probably be released tomorrow night. So I'm not sure what the plan is after that. We have 80 plus videos ideas to film. It's just a matter of what comes next and how soon and stuff like that. So anyways, if this is your first video, I hope you hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button too. And otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. Adios.